Hey everybody, this is Dust for Dust on Gaming, with a little bit of a new series here. So, GP Pittsburgh coming up, going to be playing some version of Blue Whites. Currently in paper playing Blue White Approach, but we're going to give all the various Blue White standard decks their fair shake over the next probably 30 days or so. Grand Prix Pittsburgh is on the 21st of June, I believe. This is May 14th, so we're going to do either 30 or 35 days of what they call 2-a-days. 2 days is an old high school football term of 2 practices in 1 day, trying to get ready for game conditions, etc. Blue-white can be a very taxing deck over the course of 8 rounds on 1 day, 7 rounds on day 2. So there's also a lot of various different versions of blue-white running around. There's something like this, which is straight blue-white control. There's also blue-white approach. There's blue-white historic, and even that can be broken down into like the aggro or the more controlling versions. And then there's also Esper Control and approach. So there's basically 6-ish decks that I want to take a look at as far as like configurations, how they fill in the meta, etc. I believe Pittsburgh will be right after the Pro Tour in Richmond, so there's not going to be a ton of time to adapt getting cards to after that. So we're going to have to do a lot of front-loaded work. So we're going to do 2 days here on the channel. Every day we're going to be doing at least 2 matches with blue-white of some variety. So for you aggro players, I'm sorry, this is really not for you. For those of you control aficionados, I wish you could comment still, but due to some stuff going on with the channel, stuff going on in real life, I had to disable comments for right now. If you have advice or you have builds, that maybe I should test or something that you've done real well with in paper, feel free to email me at mtgotavern, mtgotavern @gmail.com. Sorry the comments have been disabled. I'd really rather not get into that, but that's what's going on. So this is the deck that went 8-1 at the online PTQ over the weekend. I looked at the lists from the Grand Prix. I believe it was in where was the Grand Prix at? Grand Prix Birmingham. I was not too thrilled with too many of the builds, especially the highest film fitting one. This list is kind of what I would probably want to be running, or something similar, if I was playing straight blue-white. With 3 Teferi, 3 Torrential Gearhulk as kind of your kill con in the main deck. Beyond that, I mean, you've got a bunch of counter spells, a bunch of interaction, a couple seal waves, a couple cast outs. I'm currently running 4 and 3 in the list I'm running, but I want to see how these feel. 1 Ether Meltdown. This can target the knight that is not capable of being targeted by these. 4 Settle the Wreckage, 2 Fumigate. Gonna see how this split feels. Blink of the Eye is an interesting card. Allows you to bounce Planeswalkers. Can even potentially rebounce your Torrential Gearhulk. Essence Scatters. 3 Essence Scatter, 1 Negate in the main deck here. Couple Search for His Contest. 26 lands. Mainly thing here, a couple of new Revulettes to mill a couple of 3 Field of Runes and 1 Arch of Orzaka. I apologize if I can kill that pronunciation. Arch makes a lot of sense, and the games are going long, gives you another card advantage engine. It's definitely a card I should probably consider picking up for blue-white approach. Beyond that, split on Illumination and Glimmer here. So, Teferi, very excellent card in my limited experience with it at F&M the last couple weeks. So, and 1 of Commit to Memory. This can be a catch-all. Also, can flash back with Gearhulk. Get the first crack at the 7 cards. Could be a very high variance card on the memory side, but serves its purposes. The sideboard, not sure how I feel about the sideboard. A couple Gideon's reproaches make sense. Forsake the Worldly makes sense with all of the histories running around, with all the vehicles running around, so I can certainly get behind that. 3 History of Benalia, probably just straight up a better answer to things like mono red, red black, a lot more mana efficient. You're only getting 1 body at a time, but they have to spend multiple cards, or they have to burn through a couple of their creatures to trade with this. Lyra, straight up very good against the mono red aggressive decks. Also can be when you're trying to bring in more threats against the control matchup. Hour of Revelation's a bit of a weird one. I'm sure there are specific matchups where this is just straight up a hoser. Little bit of a weird one with a couple cast outs and a couple of seal aways in your main deck, but I'm presuming you're boarding most of those out, or at least limiting how many you play those if you're bringing in Hour of Revelation. I'm presuming this is for things like tokens, for things like a bunch of planeswalkers, that kind of stuff, or vehicles with a bunch of tokens like the white-black vehicles we played on the channel a week or so ago. Jace's Defeat, definitely a very good card with all the blue spells running around. 3 negates, you already have the 4th one in the main, and there's all for the control matchups. So let's get into it, doing a couple 2-mans with this, seeing how this list feels. It's in free form right now. Gotta love when you transfer decks. Move this to standard. Alright, let's get into a couple of matches here, because these matches might take a little while given the fact that it is blue-white control. So given the time constraints, I might only get through one match if this ends up being like a 45-minute grind fest. But the goal is to try to get through 2 matches a day, so I guess I'd like to play first. This hand seems fine. Obviously, you would probably want to replace one of these searches with something else, but that's perfectly fine. Go ahead and pop out our graveyard. Pop out our opponent's graveyard. Alright, so planes pass. Trying to save as much time as possible on the front end of this stuff. Oh, yep. One of the matchups I wanted to test, so see how this goes. Don't exactly have the best interaction for this game right now. Run out search here. Pass our opponent. Alright, we're up against red-black. The triple 1-drop start. This is, more than enough to put pressure on us, so. I'd like to put this in my graveyard, yes. Disallows an okay draw here. Heart of Curon. No, that is definitely one we want to counterspell. Yes, I'd like to put that in the graveyard. Fumigate's not a bad draw here. Pass to our opponent, I guess. See if they commit anything else to this board. Nope. Didn't mean to cycle that, I actually meant to cast it. Oh well. Put this in your graveyard. Sure. So if I fumigate here, they get to draw 4. Alright, negate's not a bad one here. This is gonna force them to trigger their various guys here. It's a rather disgusting little trick with those cards, isn't it? Should just fumigated last turn. Another courier. List of x equals 2. Mistakes were definitely made this game. I should have pulled trigger on Fumigate a turn earlier because I didn't realize the stack works like that for this card. It's kind of insane. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. Sure. Yep. Surprised they didn't shoot their own Bowmat Courier here. Alright. Yep, that one's kind of annoying. Let's see, 1, 2. Okay. So I can activate as Kanta and Glimmer this turn. Well, activate as Kanta and settle this turn. Okay. to Furry. Alright, so let's run out to Fairy. I think we're just dead here. Sure. Alright, so I punted by not pulling the trigger on that fumigated turn earlier, so kind of deserve that loss. Definitely want these Forsakes. Definitely want these Histories of Benalia. Probably want these Reproaches. Definitely want the Lyras. Question is, what cards do I cut here? Commit's not the greatest card. Cut like one Settle. Cut maybe one or two Disallows. Their Meltdown's fine. One of Negate's okay. Shave like one Gear Hulk. One to Fairy. Maybe get these Blinks of an Eye out of here. Try it like this. Sorry, this series is as much about experimenting with these deck types and learning with them as things. Sounds okay, not great. Soulscar Mage is kind of whatever. Alright, Lyra's something to play towards at least. Alright. Also on land drop. Or they're just waiting to play it till after combat. Okay, fair enough. Play that out on that. Seal away. Play their turn. Their Bomat Courier. See if you play anything else here. Walking Ballista for one, I don't think I care about. Okay. Do need to draw a land. We'll settle the wreckage, unfortunately. So what am I supposed to run out here? Guess we run out Lyra and hope it's good enough. You have disintegration, you have disintegration. Sure. Okay. Sure. Soul Scar Mage and Bowmat Courier. Okay. History of Benalia, huh? Am I supposed to play history here, or am I supposed to play... Get a little bit greedy, hope we hit a land here. Not quite the land I had in mind, but, you know. Now they have Chain Whirler in hand. Okay. Doomfall to get rid of Lyra. Probably gonna lose history here. Alright. Doomfall to get rid of Lyra. Could have played around that with playing history, I guess. Okay, Scrounger, sure. Torrential Gearhulk. Make a knight. Yep. One, two, three, four, five. Get rid of that stupid duress. Okay. Opponent concedes. Okay. Alright. So, mistakes were made. Definitely, definitely. It's possible I don't even want to be playing Fumigates, as crazy as that sounds right now in this matchup. Is there any of these cards I want over the other ones? Disallows, Blink of an Eye, Juice's Defeat to Fairy, 2 Lyra, 2 those, 2 those, 3 History of Vanilla. Actually, opponent might bring back in something like Unlicensed, but do we care? I mean, we can't win just solely with Planeswalkers, so I guess we just leave it as is. Fortunately, card like Spell Snare is not legal in Standard, so of course they really haven't shown us any 2-drops. Huh. Forsake the Worldly. Certainly one of the matchups I want to test against a lot, given this was the top deck over the weekend at the Grand Prix. Making sure we haven't disconnected. Alright. Making sure. Cast out Glimmer is this. Looks like a pretty good start to things. Alright. Possible our opponent's disconnected, or perhaps they're irritated and they're gonna try the count out thing. Don't worry, opponent, we're not going anywhere. Alright, so this hand's okay, not great. Rivulet being our only blue source is going to be a little bit painful. Pass. Heart of Curon, sure. Alright, we have an answer to Heart. Scrounger. Without any other cards in your graveyard, I'm going to go ahead and counter that. I think I'll just play Field of Ruin out here. Huh. Yep. Mana being a little bit awkward this game is going to cost us against Karn. History of Benelia. Literally cannot cast anything this turn. What am I grabbing here? Huh. PN Cure and Alar. Interesting. Time to get rid of this Karn. Need to sell the wreckage or something. Yeah, sure. Sure. Scry to the bottom. Scry to the bottom. Pumpability takes, so you can only pump it twice here. Yep. Forsake the worldly. Exile that. Sure. Goblin Chain Whirler. Go ahead and counter that one. Why wouldn't you pump there? Huh. Sure, I'm fine with that exchange. Two, three, four, five, six, seven. Okay. Did not see that particular trick coming. Sure. This is one of the situations where Illumination compared to Glimmer is actually a bit of a downside. Okay. Sure. Sure. 4. Not exactly the cards we're looking for here. Target opponent. Probably dead here. Sure. And we did. Alright, so what our next draw step have been? Sometimes good old Magic Online. Yep. Fumigate the next card down. Yeah, our opponent would be able to sack that one. So we could Field of Ruin that. Be able to sack that, we'd gain 3. Still don't think we were in great shape. Oh well. Definitely matchup worth learning. So things need to learn. Takeaways is, well, for starters, the abilities of Bomat Courier can stack. Good to know. That way, would have fumigated a turn earlier, maybe they wouldn't have had as many resources. Game 1, maybe we could have beaten them. This sideboard seems pretty decent for this matchup. Forsake the Worldly is pretty good. I think there's one floating around that gains life, too. Might be relevant. Like something offering might be divine something or other. Divine. Oh well, I can't find it at the moment, but I think there's one that gains life. With the resurgence of this red-black deck, maybe there's some call for Regal Caracals or Authority of Consuls in the deck. I don't know enough about the deck to know if I was sideboarding correctly or not in this particular matchup. The version I'm playing with the approaches has multiple real caracals in the sideboard, still has the Lyras, and has Authority of the Consuls, so maybe the histories are enough. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that myself to see if there was any like sequencing or anything like that that I could have done better to not walk headfirst into some of what was going on, especially with that Scrap Heap Scrounger. If I had disallowed that trigger, I would have been able to kill two of their... would have been able to kill the Construct, and the Scrounger would have been able to come back. So, definitely some sequencing, definitely some onboard tricks I missed. Important stuff to learn when you're playing a deck like blue-white, so better to get them out of my system now than in something like Grand Prix Pittsburgh. So I'm definitely going to have to play a lot more with these decks. I've already played like 8 matches with the approach version in FNMs, gone 2-2 and 3-0-1, so I'm not a complete total idiot with this deck, I swear, but, you know, we got stuff to learn between this, the Flash version, and so much else. So thanks for tuning in. This has been day number 1 of preparing with blue-white various versions. This is Dusk for Dust to Dawn Gaming. Thanks for tuning in.